Hello, this is our team 42. I'm Anjita, this is Arnav, this is Rizwan. Our team mentor is Pratik Kamble and our client's name is Ram Madhuri. Our project is basically building an insurance calculator. So a little about the company. Jama Advisor is a product of Simpligo Technologies. It is committed to helping people make better financial decisions. It has products like goal calculators, uh, stock calculators and stuff like that. Our project, the one that we're working on, is an insurance calculator, and we think that it will go very nicely and it will provide very comprehensive financial solutions to people's problems when once integrated with our client's website. The problem statement, to formalize, is to create an app that estimates the amount of insurance that a user might need and offer him or her appropriate insurance schemes.
About the project. The app which you are building will inform its users how much money they need to fulfill their goals, considering their already existing assets and liabilities and expenses also. And it is more impartial and transparent than those advices given to you by the people, because it does not involve any third party, and the options which we are providing are based on arithmetic calculations. So aims and goals. Our aim is to provide the user the amount of insurance he needs to fulfill his goals, considering his assets, liabilities, and his existing policies, and offer him a policy that can fulfill his goals. So we have to consider the existing user policy. So we have provided an add option to so that he can add his existing policies and then offer him a policy which is bought through redirection to the payment URL. So project planning. It took us about a week to plan how we'll go through the project and how we'll build all the functionalities that were given to us according to the client specifications. So we thought that first we'd implement login and sign up, then we'll implement an add insurance form, which would help us in implementing a show insurance form and calculate the required amount of insurance and implement view and edit policies option. This was up to release 1. Now for R2, we implemented a buy insurance form and modified the UI to look as close as possible to the client's existing UI, and redirected him to a payment URL where we could record success and failure of the transaction.
Yeah. So the workflow of our final project. First, we add and show users current insurance policies that he has now. Then we calculate the amount of insurance the user will need. After calculating that, according to that, we offer him appropriate insurance policies. And then we redirect him to a form where he fills the details to buy an insurance. After that, we connect him to a payment URL where he eventually buys the insurance. If the payment is successful, we store the success in our database.
Right. So project sprints. Our project is divided into 6 sprints. 3 of them were addressed in R1 and 3 we did after R1. It's for R2. Sprint 1 was the add insurance functionality. We basically executed a screen where the user can add details for an existing policy to store it in our database. Policy details like sum assured, frequency of premiums, start date, end date were taken as an input from the user. And NSATC was updated, so was sum assured for the user after every single edition.
Yeah. In our second sprint, we create a screen to show users current policies. So in that screen, we have a table created by jQuery where all the information about users' current policies is displayed. And in that screen, we also have extra information as fields like NSATC, NGOA, sum assured, and advisor's recommendation, which he puts manually. In that screen, we also have implemented features like deleting his current policies and also editing his current policy.
So Sprint 3 was calculating required insurance using an API. So for the purpose of this project, we created an API of our own. However, the client is going to later replace that with an API of his own. So NSATC, which is calculated based on advisor's recommendation, and NGOA, sum assured required for goals to be fulfilled that is given by the client, are compared. If NSATC is less than NGOA, which means that more insurance is required, then insurance premium for required insurance is calculated using the given API.
So Sprint 4, which is UI or materialize UI, that the biggest challenge in this part was to make a UI look as close as possible to the UI the client's existing website has using materialized CSS. So we had to modify some parts of code which we had done till R1. By the way, R1 was still Sprint 3. So we had to modify some part of the code which we had made in R1 so that we could add materialized CSS to our entire app and modify it accordingly so it would look like a more like the client's UI.
Sprint 5 was the buy insurance form. So this was divided into two screens, two forms basically. The first screen was for user specific personal details. So when the user clicks submit in this case, it gets stored into the database. Whether or not he fills out the next form or payment happens. The second screen was a very policy specific form. So it was pre-populated with premium values calculated previously using the API, and the user fills out nominee details like nominee date of birth, last name, first name, etc. This last print was redirection to payment URL and the recording of success. So we sent the info to payment URL that was collected in the last couple of forms. In this case, it was a dummy API for the purpose of this project that the client will later replace by an actual payment URL. We capture the response from an API. So we capture if the payment was successful or not. If the payment was successful, then we add the policy to our database and update NSATC and other values accordingly.
Yeah, so our project milestones. Yeah, so as you can see, the first three sprints were covered before R1, and during that, while creating the policy UI of the policy view policy page, we ran into some major issues. So we extended that till R2, and we completed that in R2, and the last three sprints were covered in R2. Yeah, so now we will tell you about the issues we faced during our entire project. Yeah, the first major issue was obviously understanding the new field of finance, which were relatively unknown for us. And the second issue we faced was understanding the Django framework, and because it took us some time to understand its inner workings.
So working with materialized CSS was a little bit hard because Django and materialized CSS have some compatibility issues. Like Django overrides some class names of some several HTML elements to some default names. So you can't just directly apply materialized CSS to them. And materialized CSS being used lacks some resources. So we had to change many parts of the code to make it compatible with materialized CSS.
That's it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hello, and welcome to the demo of our SASAD project, which is an insurance calculator for Jama Technologies. There you go. So what you see right now is the homepage for a user that has not logged in or signed up yet. So we're going to create a new user. This is a basic Django form because, well, the sign up and the login pages will be the client's pages that will be used in the final integrated product. And he mentioned that we shouldn't be spending much more time improving the UI of these pages. So this is just a basic form. This is simple materialize. So we're going to sign up as a new user. Sorry. Right. Logging in as that user. There you go. So I have logged in. You can see no option of logging in here. Okay, so when I view my policies, my current insurance policies here, this is a jQuery table and materialize used here. As you can see, the current sum, NSATC, net sum currently assured to continue, and sum required according to goals, that is NGOA, are all 0. That's because, well, this is a new user, so NGOA is not available yet. That is supposed to be given through the backend through our client's website. NSATC is 0 and sum assured is 0 because the number of policies here are 0, so then sum assured is 0. So let's change that. Let's add a policy, so see how it works. So some number. There are 3 types of insurances: whole life, ULIP, and term. I'm going to go with whole life. So we just have one insurer name, one insurer model right now, but we can easily create another, and then that will show up here. Let's that be 32,000. Why not? This is a materialized date picker. Let it start from September of 2011. Why not? Do sometime later. There you go. The frequency of premium be monthly. There you go. And we are going to submit this. So when we view our policies here, there's a new policy. The policy number, everything as we have inputted. Sum assured here is 32,000. Now the current sum and an NSATC, the difference between them is that NSATC is dependent on the advisor recommendation. If the advisor has recommended to discontinue the policy, then it will not be counted for NSATC. Let's add another policy. Okay. If insurance be this, insurer name, sum assured, let it be 70,000 because why not? Start date this, end date be okay. Right, frequency of premium this time, but it's set to quarterly. I submit, and you can see that here, right? So now you can search your policies, of course. So suppose I wanna search policies by the frequency of premium. I want to search monthly. It is going to show me monthly. I want to search the policy number. So this is, let's go to the first one, 217. Okay, 217. There you go. So right now they're the same because the advisor recommendation is not discontinued for any of them. Of course, there are basic edit buttons here too. You can see there's a delete button as well, right? Let's log in and change the advisor recommendation so that we can see the difference between what is it, NSATC and sum assured. So industrial life insurances. There you go. This is the right. So there you go. So advisor recommendation, I will set this to discontinue. I'll suggest a date of surrender. I'm going to just surrender to today and now for now. There you go. Save. This has been saved. Let's log out as the advisor and log in again as the user. So my username was Amshita. There we go. Now when you view your policies, you'll see that one of them is marked discontinued. And the NSATC is just 32,000. So the one that is marked discontinued will not be taken into consideration in NSATC. NSATC is basically if you take the advisor's advice with everything, then what will your sum assured be? Now, sum required according to goals is still 0 because that's what we've set it as, 0. We haven't actually set it as something, so let's change that too. I'll go to investor accounts. I logged in as Anshita. Okay. I will go with NGOA as, suppose, I don't know, 2 lakh. To log out again as the admin, and I'm going to log in as the user. So when I view my policies now, I can see that, well, the NGOA has been changed to 2 lakh because I just set it that way. And these two fields are new. So insurance cover to be purchased is the amount of insurance that the user needs to fulfill his goals, keeping the NSATC in mind. So if NSATC is less than the NGOA, sum required according to goals, that is, then this field will show up. This is just a basic difference of these two. And the approximate annual premium required is calculated through an API in which we send the API, the insurance cover to be purchased, and we get back the annual premium required. For now, the API just calculates 2% of whatever the insurance cover is and gets it back, but it will be later replaced by the client's actual API. So when we click on the buy option, there are 2 forms that it leads to. The first step is the user-specific form. So I'm just going to fill my details here. So it doesn't matter if you go through the entire payment or not. Okay, no, that one. Go with a different number this time. It doesn't matter if you go through the entire payment or not. If you fill the first form, then it stores it in the database. So like, why does it show up in an error? Okay, there you go. It gets stored in the database. To just demonstrate that, I'm going to quickly go to view my policies. So I haven't bought any policies. I haven't given any policy specific details to it yet. Hence, when I click to the buy option, it has this because it stores it the minute I click buy. Okay. Policy term. Suppose I want to have a policy for 37 years. Now, okay, 37. Cool. So policy term will automatically get filled if the advisor has filled a suggested end date in the backend. As you could see, there was a field that. So it calculates the difference between today's year, what year it is right now, and what year was in the date that the advisor filled. So of course the client can change it as they like, but this is what, okay, no, I'm not the nominee. I will set my sister as the nominee for this one. She's a female. Date of birth is, I'm just going to manually put in, but there's a date picker here. So, no, for this. Oh. Okay. Right. So this is gender-based, this relationship system. So if I had said male in the previous step, then they would be of the opposite gender. Wife would be husband, mother would be father, stuff like that. So the sister, and we're done. So this shows up as a new policy here. Advisor recommendation is continued. Of course, insurance company by default, we've set it to ICICI on our client's request. They can set it to whatever they like. Policy term, for default, right now we have term, but again, when there's an actual API that it goes to, because right now it's routed to a dummy API. But when there's an actual API, then it will give, like I said, actual values. Yeah, sum assured is what it was previously. Now you can see that NSATC and NGOA are equal because the sum assured of this, the cover of this was exactly according to what the client needed. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.